Sorry, give me a second. I'm just tweeting this. All done. Hi, my name is Jubin Jacob John, and I am a lecturer here at Cambridge International College. And I was just tweeting something to my class for digital marketing and social media. And this is what the subject is all about. If you think about digital marketing and social media, I'm pretty sure you guys are well conversant with the likes of Facebook, Weibo, WeChat, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And but as a marketing student, you can leverage these tools to market your products to your consumers better, be it B2B or B2C. So digital marketing has actually changed the way that human marketing is actually conducted today. In specific, especially like if you look at this, you have the concepts of digital marketing, you have social media marketing, you have the World Wide Web, the internet. Everything's changed the way that we actually do business today. And this has also given a plethora of opportunities for marketing people. And unfortunately, but it can actually go either positively, as in the latest United Airlines scandal, it can actually go negatively too. And it's up to you as a marketer to actually use it for your companies or your organizations or your products' benefit. So if you look at this specific subject, which is BBMK 303, we are actually looking at specifically the more or less the social media side of things. And we're looking at the 8-step planning process, and we look at how can you effectively implement this concept, the model, in your marketing strategy. So the 8-step planning process is how we have designed this subject, and it's also based on Barker et al.'s textbook, which is your prescribed textbook for this unit. It actually incorporates a conceptual and also theoretical foundation that provides the necessary tools to create a comprehensive and effective social media plan. And it involves, as it says, 8 steps. And it begins with actually understanding, out of a lot of other things, it starts with observing an organization's current goals, their presence, their competition on specifically within the social side of things or the social web side of things, and it also it follows then through the establishment of smart goals or smart social media objectives that the organization would want to achieve. And then the next step is to actually think about who are you marketing to or who are you trying to talk to, who is technically your target market, and then understanding strategies for them and specifically for your target market, and then creating campaign-specific audiences on the social web. And if you look at the processes involved in this, there's a lot of different processes, especially in the identification of what is the ideal social media platform that you would use to market a specific product to a specific target audience. So for this, we use a lot of different frameworks. We use the Honeycomb framework, which by Kitzman et al. And we use a lot of theoretical and practical perspectives on how can you actually market to a specific product to a specific target audience better. And it's also depending on a lot of different factors, like, for example, who is on Facebook compared to who is on LinkedIn, and how can you sell, let's say, rubber seals or, let's say, business-to-business products to your suppliers on LinkedIn versus how can you sell fidget spinners to B2C consumers within the B2C market. And then we'll also look into the interaction on the social web, and which is kind of guided by rather informal rules of engagement and also general principles of appropriate behavior, especially from a company. In the class, we look at the appropriate behavior by social media strategies on Twitter, and how does companies like Wendy's actually use humor as a very big factor in their social media campaign to actually engage with their consumers, versus some other companies like Coca-Cola, which has different strategies compared to Wendy's. And then as a consumer of social media, and also even from a social media marketer's perspective, you should actually account for what are these informal rules, and you should be aware of these precepts before attempting to participate in social media as a tool to market your products, or even understand your consumers, or basically for everything that you do on social media. With these guidelines or these informal rules or general principles in mind, you have to account for your company's social media goals, your strategies, your target audiences, and your prime social media platforms, and then create an appropriate platform-specific strategies or tactics to captivate that audience. And you can actually do it not very easily, but using proper planning, you can actually leverage this as a major tool in your marketing strategy. And then you have to account for the execution of these tactics in terms of allowing an organization to implement your goals from a social media perspective through social media strategies across multiple platforms, which can include the likes of LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And this is all done to actually achieve your social media marketing goals of your organization. The bulk of this subject is actually dedicated to this, and in terms of how can you create and deploy specific marketing tactics using online platforms and the mobile web. Having said that, there's a lot of social media tools, and I would be introducing you, if you once you're taking up this subject, I would be introducing you to a lot of these different social media tools, and some might be more efficient for some specific platforms than others. And we'll be going through this in detail during the latter part of this subject. And why is this important? Because monitoring and measuring the progress of your social media tactics or strategies is critical for an effective marketing strategy. And for this, especially from a ROI perspective, which is a return on investment perspective, it is essential that you actually account for the effective strategy, effective measurement of your social media tactics, and monitoring of how effectively you're conducting this. And if you find some issues with this, you can always, it's actually a continuous model of improvement and adjustment, so that you improve the elements of your social media plans based on what your target market needs. And some of the final lectures actually look into how can you actually develop a social media marketing plan from a more formal perspective, using references from throughout your course, and also illustrations from a real-world example. So basically what I'm trying to say is this subject gives you a rich and robust cumulative learning experience from a social media perspective, which gives you which has a deep contextual relevance in the social media spectrum. So as a marketer, this subject gives you the basic foundational knowledge in terms of how can you think from a marketing perspective, implement it on the social media to enhance your consumer or your customer experience. That's all for me. Thank you.